Dumbo. Released in 1941, it's a Disney classic, and just in case you haven't seen it before, the basic plot story is Mother Elephant can't have an elephant baby. She magically has an elephant baby. Elephant baby is born with horrible deformities, but it turns out the deformities are useful in the end and turn him into a star. Now, Dumbo is one of these classic Disney movies, which sort of sticks in my head as one of the ones that was the most iconic. When I was a kid, I remember watching The Frog Prince, Treasure Planet, and of course, Dumbo on this exact here VHS. From the UK, actually, so that means, you know, it's rated U. For children. But because Dumbo is such a popular, well-known movie, I didn't think that making a review where I, dissect the plot of it would be of any value. So I decided just to make a short little video talking about my favorite aspects of Dumbo. So yeah, here's some things that I really like about this movie. Now, just in case you didn't know, Dumbo was actually based off a storybook by the same name. Apparently, at some point, Walt Disney caught wind of Dumbo and its plot, and he decided he wanted to make it into something animated. While he originally envisioned making a short movie, this eventually turned into a full-length movie, which is what you have today. And by full length, I mean around 64 minutes. You can't really stretch a storybook that long, even with the skills present at Disney. Now, despite being praised as amazing classic movies, Pinocchio and Fantasia, surprisingly, failed at the box office. Now, most of this was caused by the fact that, well, a world war was going on. But despite that, and probably because of Dumbo's cheap production value, its short length, and its generally enthralling universal story, it actually succeeded excellently at the box office. It was the most successful Disney movie of the 1940s. And it was released in 1941. In 9 years, they couldn't make anything more successful than Dumbo. It's also important to note that Dumbo had many unexperienced animators assigned to it. But despite this, being a Disney movie, it still looks excellent. So yeah, even though it was meant to be relatively cheap, a borderline cash grab, like many Disney things, loads of effort and work went into Dumbo despite this, and it ended up being an incredible success. Another thing I really like about Dumbo is the music, and while I don't like bringing up awards in any of my movie videos, it is true that Dumbo did get the Best Scoring Academy Award and got nominated for Best Original Song. I mean, after the opening credits, the first thing that the movie starts off with is a song. The songs in this movie indicate the era it was made in. With most Disney movies and short films, watching them in the modern day is just as good as watching them back when they were released, mostly because animation holds up very, very well. And this normally applies to music too, but Dumbo has a surprisingly contemporary soundtrack, at least for its time. This gives it a very, very unique sound, which I haven't really seen in any other Disney movie. Oh, and speaking of animation, another thing I really like about the movie is the animation. Now, I mentioned before, it was done relatively cheaply with inexperienced animators, but you don't really notice this? Now, it might be that my expectations for animation have been lowered by modern animation, but there's no denying that loads of effort made into making this movie look as good as it could possibly be. One of the biggest cost-saving measures here was the lack of many special effects, but I feel like this is more than made up for with the crazy psychedelic scenes. The pink elephant scene in Dumbo sticks in my head as one of the most bizarre things in animation ever. It's supposed to represent some form of intoxicated vision, and God does it do that well. One of my absolutely favorite parts of the animation in Dumbo is the water. I haven't seen water animated like this in any other movie. It looks so weird. But anyway, moving on from the animation, so the last thing I really like about Dumbo is the plot. Now, I mentioned before it was based off a storybook, and the story remains pretty much the same apart from a couple of changed characters. And I do acknowledge that most of the credit here goes to the original creator of the book, but not only is the plot to Dumbo engaging, simple, and relatively easy to understand while not missing any form of depth, it's presented in one of the most unique ways possible. I haven't seen any other movie paced and scripted like this. The reason is that the script writing process had the script written more like a book and less like, well, a script. Once again, this makes Dumbo an incredibly unique animated movie, and a unique movie in general. I haven't really seen any other movie paced and presented like this. And that's pretty much it. Dumbo is a fun, classic Disney movie, and nothing makes me more disgusted than the new 2019 remake. Look at this. Does this look like Dumbo? No, it looks like a mutilated elephant. Now, I haven't seen the 2019 remake, mostly because I don't watch many movies, but based off the trailers and the visuals alone, God, it looks disgusting. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, please tell me in the comments, because these videos are actually fun to make for once. Goodbye.